My name's Dave DeBow, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewsyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content. Hey guys and gals, welcome back. Today we got a special treat for you. We got a very experienced real estate entrepreneur. You wouldn't know it for looking at the fella, but Joel Miller has been investing in real estate for 48 years at this point. He's a very accomplished real estate investor. You name it, Joel's kind of done some of it. He's done flips, he's done single family homes. He's an expert when it comes to landlording. He's part of his local landlord association. He teaches classes on landlording, and he's an author. He's got a best-selling book, Build Real Estate Wealth. So Joel, welcome to the show.
Oh, Dave, thanks for having me. I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah,
it's going to be lively.
Me too, my friend. All right. So Joel, give us a little snapshot of, right now we're Q1 of 2025. What does real estate and real estate investing look like for you right now? What do you do? What are you most active in?
Well, at this point, although we still have a lot of rentals, some of which I would say at this point we're down to the ones that my son is going to be taking over in a few years. But in 2018, I got into hard money lending, and that is, I would say, primarily what I'm doing in real estate, because I'm not at the moment acquiring more properties, but we still operate the rentals that we have. And it just gives me great pleasure to be a part of the equation for the other investors that are earlier on in their journey. And I wish I would have had somebody for hard money lending as I do, whenever I was getting started.
Why did you, rewinding to 2018, why did you decide at that time to jump into hard money lending?
Well, I had some cash that had accumulated from the flips that I had been doing. I started flipping houses in about 1991. You mentioned 48 years. Yes, I bought my very first rental property in January of 1978. I still have it. I was there an hour ago.
Wow.
Doing something. And it's a little cash cow. It's just great. But then I got into flipping before flip was a real estate term, which didn't come about till the TV shows that had flip in their title and so on.
What did they call it back before they called it flipping?
We would call it quick turn.
Okay, quick turn. Yeah.
So I had flipped over 100 houses by that point, and I had some money, and it just turned out that one of the other investors who had gone to some Ron LeGrand events.
I know
and,
Ron.
Become a Ron LeGrand disciple. And in fact, just to jump ahead, he eventually became a coach with Ron LeGrand, and he wrote a bonus chapter in my book. It's Real Estate Steve Zumigel. And he was a little earlier on in his journey, and he came to me with the Ron LeGrand script. And I had to chuckle just like we are right now. We were at my kitchen table, and I knew what was going on, but I just let him do the whole script.
Nice.
I said, sure, Steve, of course I'll lend you some money for this house, and literally that was the beginning. And then the word got out. And
Joel's good for the cash.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And and then it was kind of like the mobile DJ business that I can tell you I was in. I thought that would last a couple of years, and I did that for 35 years. Wow. But the hard money lending quickly became the main thing that I was doing. And then,
well, you came at it from a really good place. Not only did you have a bunch of cash that you had, built up over years doing your own flips, but by doing your own flips, 100 plus of them, the business inside and out. So it's nobody can pull the wool over your eyes, right?
Exactly. And that is what I tell people that have found out about what I do, like people that are in other professions and have somehow acquired a pile of money, and they say, "Hey, Joel, how do I do this hard money lending thing?" And what I'm getting at is that I don't recommend that anybody does that unless they have already done the types of projects that people are approaching them to lend on.
Mm,
You
yeah.
know, I'm not lending on anything I haven't done. I've done your house that you're bringing me right now. I did that, you know,
Mhm.
and multiple times. And because hard money lending is such a relational sort of thing. The beauty of it is the speed of the underwriting, right? You know,
Yeah.
you close quickly and all that. And so that's all done on a handshake. And so the paperwork, of course, is
Yeah.
the
I'm hoping you got some paperwork in there, Joel.
Oh yeah, you know, with the note and mortgage and personal guarantees and assignment of rents and
You're
we even
covered.
have them do a deed in lieu of foreclosure that
Mm,
the attorney holds in case things go bad. We just record that. We've
yeah.
never had to do that, but you know that's part of the procedure. But yeah, we lock it down with paperwork. But uh, people call and we talk about a deal on the phone. If it passes muster, then the next step is to walk the property. And I don't lend on any property I haven't walked inside and out of every
Oh,
unit.
really? So then
Yeah.
you really focus on local
Yeah,
properties
I
then.
just lend to the guys around here. And I'm in northwestern Pennsylvania, Erie, PA, halfway
Yeah.
between Cleveland and Buffalo, right on the lake, directly north of Pittsburgh. Three NFL teams, Cleveland, Buffalo, and Pittsburgh, you know. Mostly Steelers though. So um, so we talk about it, we go look at it, and I just ask questions. You know, like, have you seen this? What's your plan for that? What do you think about this going on here? And Dave, I can tell you, sometimes by the time we get to the end of that walkthrough, that investor is absolutely sure they do not want to buy that property.
Or at least they want to renegotiate big time.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
sometimes I renegotiate on the spot.
Mm,
I have, I'll be like, maybe it's a private owner that's standing there showing at the house, and I'll look at it, and if I'm on the edge about it, say, look, you know, I'm the lender here, and I'm not going to lend unless he only pays X, and I'll lower the price. And
wow.
you know, some of the sellers have said, okay, you know, so I made my points that
Hmm.
I'm making off of this loan. You know, I made that up just right then with the amount I
Renegotiating.
saved that investor. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, then you know, if everything is acceptable, we literally just do it on a handshake right on spot. Then I come back to the office and send an email with the loan terms, and they
Mhm.
reply they agree, and we forward the email to the attorneys, and then fund the deal a couple of weeks later.
Nice.
So
So I was going to ask you something about that, Joel. So it is such a relationship type business. How many flippers are you working with typically? Like you want to vet these guys, you want to know these
yeah,
guys, you want to make sure they know what the heck they're doing. How many do you kind of have in your roster?
um, altogether, I've probably lent to because many of them are multiple
Yeah.
uh, frequent flyers, you know,
Mhm.
somewhere between 40 and 50 different individuals.
And how
And
many of them are like frequent flyers that just
I would
all the
say
time?
half of them, or maybe even 75% of them at this point, 8 years
Mhm.
down the road, have done at least two loans with me, and some
That's
as many as eight or 10.
yeah, because I'm wondering, I'm imagining those guys, some of them are doing some pretty serious volume.
Yeah.
They're doing
See,
multiple
that's the
deals
thing.
a
If
day.
you develop a relationship with a hard money lender, and you maybe keep in touch to make sure the cash is, pardon me, available, then you can go out in the field as an investor and just start making cash offers,
Hmm. Yeah.
and knowing that you have the money from the hard money lender if it goes through. Now, I always tell my clients, I said, make the offer contingent only on your partner's approval. Well, of course, I'm
Ah,
your partner.
you're the
This
partner.
way, you know, if you've made an offer and I haven't looked at it yet, then there's another visit that the seller knows about where I'm coming. And, you know, in some instances, like I said, it could be that the investor wants to back out of the deal because the partner didn't approve. It doesn't happen that often,
Yeah.
but at least uh, you know, meets my criteria of
Yeah. And they
having
got
had
that
the time
escape
to walk it.
hatch.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a emergency brake. It's a safety hatch there. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's switch gears for a second here, Joel, because
Sure.
you got so much experience. I want to talk a little bit about your landlord experience because I know that's something that's also near and dear to your heart is helping out
Hmm.
landlords. I think you're really involved in some sort of a landlord
Yeah.
association. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, you know, just briefly, when I was in junior high, somebody built four-unit apartment buildings on my paper route. Of course, I got all those residents on my route as customers,
Yeah.
but I distinctly have a memory in junior high of sitting down and doing the math on how this whole rental property thing works. And I actually decided then that I wanted to invest in rental property, but I had to put it in my
Yeah.
back pocket for the time being. And
That's
the other
pretty
thing
good in junior high as a paper boy. That's really good. Yeah.
yeah, and I mean, the other thing that happened in junior high, and this ties in with the little comment I made earlier. One of the kids in the neighborhood, older kids, built a pirate radio station in their basement and put a
Yeah.
antenna on the flagpole in the backyard. And that was when I hung out there, and that's when I first decided I wanted to be a disc jockey. And to really compress that story, I did work on the radio for a number of years, but I pioneered the mobile DJ business in this part
Huh.
of the country. I did that for 35 years, and I did 5,051 appearances, having retired in 2011. But I bought my first rental property only about a year and a half after my first mobile DJ appearance. And so those two things coexisted, which is
Yeah.
one of the premises of my book about how real estate doesn't have to be an either or thing. You can choose to add rental property to something else that you're doing, like a career that you don't want to give up or some hobby you have a passion for. And you can add it on to what you're doing. And that's part of what the book teaches, in addition to teaching you how to lose your job ASAP,
If you
and
want.
and
Well, let's
you know,
talk a little bit about the book. So it's called
yeah,
Build Real Estate Wealth. Enjoy the journey of rental property investment. So
right.
books is fairly new. I think it came out late last year. Why
Hmm.
did you decide to write a book at this point, Joel?
Because I have a 19-year-old son
Mhm.
now, and when I started writing, it was going on 5 years ago. He was still an early teen, and I can tell you, Dave, the book is written as though he's the only one that's ever going to read it. I
Hmm.
mean, there's no BS in there. It is the information that I would want my son to know and act on. And so if you read it, a person reading it, that it's written with care, it's written with no BS, and there's no bad advice in there. It is the way I have done it, or I would do it, if I was involved with the particular type
You're
of
starting
property I'm
over again now.
describing.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, it kind of grew out your prior question there. Yes, I've been involved with the professional organization of landlords for many years in this area. I'm our longest serving past president, and I'm currently still the vice president because everybody's been president since then, keeps asking me to be the vice president. And so out of that, I also teach the landlord one-on-one classes and some advanced classes. And when COVID rolled around, and I had some time on my hand, and I
Mhm.
had this teenager, and I had this experience teaching the classes and so on. I started making notes for about a year, and then I spent a couple of years writing the book, and then another year in the production of the book till it finally came out last year. But it came out of a real desire to pass on good information, to add value to other people's lives, and to put it in book form. And uh, it's becoming the new go-to resource. So we call it. It's right on the front page or front cover. It says it's the big book. It's
Mhm.
460 pages long.
Wow, that
But
is a
it's
big
it's
book.
kind of a reference book. Ron LeGrand reviewed this book, and he said, "I wish I would have had his book when I was getting started."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
people have they are reviewing it, saying that this is not the kind of book that you buy and read and say, "Oh, that was great," and you put it on your shelf. This is a book you buy and you park on your desk because you're going to refer to this. I mean, there's over 150 checklists in there of
Wow.
everything from here are the questions to ask people calling about apartments. Here are the questions to ask references. Here are the questions to ask contractors. Here are the questions or the points to follow for doing due diligence on a property you've had an offer accepted on. I mean, for the beginner, it's even got a list of tools you should own. It starts with mindset and takes you all the way through entity formation for how you want to hold the property, and
Mhm.
then gets into property acquisition and property management and tenant management and selling your property. It gets into organizing your office, tax ramifications,
Yeah,
and
you're right. It's an absolute
yeah,
reference. Yeah.
yeah.
Now,
In
is
the
it more
book,
for single family home type
oh no,
people or multifamily or
no, multifamily,
flips?
single family, residential, and commercial.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
and it winds up with um, a discussion of the difference between riches and wealth, which are not the same thing. It's kind of like the difference between knowledge and wisdom.
Mm.
Knowledge is the facts. Wisdom is how to apply the facts in a good way. You know, and ultimately talks about some really good best practices for keeping calamity out of your business and professional life. I'm all about heading calamity off at the pass so
Mm.
that you don't even have it in the first place instead of just continually putting out fires. Let's prevent the fires ahead of time.
Right. Mm.
So uh, it's um, it's it's just really catching on as the go-to reference book now.
So speaking of go to, where can people go to get the book?
Well, I would direct you to the website that's dedicated to the book. It's joelmillerbooks.com. It's Joel is how you spell Joel. Joel Miller Books, plural.com. And on the home page of that, you can click on a button that shows you the entire table of contents, which is a detailed table of contents. You can see exactly what's being covered there. Another button says has a couple of two or three of the like sample writings from each of the chapters, so you can see
Mhm.
what we're really talking about and how we're talking about it. And on every page on the website is a buy button, and what that'll do, it'll just take you directly to the page on Amazon that it's for sale on. So I would encourage you to do that. And I will say, this book is all about rentals. However, there is a chapter on house flipping,
Okay.
but it's only the about house flipping. At the end of that chapter is a QR code. You can use your camera it'll take you to bonus material for the how to of house flipping.
On house flipping.
Yeah.
Got it. Smart. Awesome. What's that URL again? What's the website, Joel?
It's joelmillerbooks.com.
Very
Build
good.
real estate wealth, enjoy the journey of rental property investment.
Well, it sounds like you've had quite a journey, my friend.
Yeah.
48 years and counting. As we wrap this up, what are your plans for 2025?
2025 will involve probably expanding the hard money lending business, and we are doing improvements on a number of our existing properties. As I said, we're down to the ones that are going to be passed on to my son in a few years, and so I want those to be in great shape.
Good. Really good. Joel, thanks so much for being on the show. This has been a lot of fun. Really good to meet you.
Oh, likewise, Dave. I've had a great time. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, everybody, take care, and we will see you on the next one. Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewyou.com. Now at moneypartnerformula.com, we help real estate investors to create a process for predictably getting capital so they can do more deals without relying on hard money lenders or the banks. We do this by building them a private capital marketing system. Now, if you want help turning yourself into a big money capital attraction machine, then book a call with our team to see how we can help. Just visit moneypartnerformula.com to find out more. All right, take care, and we'll see you on the next interview.